I never thought I'd see or hear that word with regard to me, impeachment.
In a few short weeks, the unthinkable has become all but inevitable.
The actions taken to date by the president have seriously violated the Constitution.
The president vehemently denies he did anything wrong.
There was no quid pro quo.
And accuses the Democrats of being obsessed with removing him from office.
Everybody knows it. It's just a Democrat witch hunt. Here we go again.
The Democrats call this a textbook case of a president abusing his office.
A classic mafia-like shakedown of a foreign leader.
The central issue, whether in a July phone call President Trump pressured Ukraine's newly elected president to investigate Trump's political rivals, using as leverage much-needed military aid and a coveted White House visit.
The conversation I had with the president of Ukraine was absolutely perfect.
But after that call, a whistleblower working inside the White House filed a formal complaint against the president. And that's what ultimately led to this inquiry.
It's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections.
Tomorrow on Capitol Hill, a momentous new phase, public impeachment hearings.
It is an incredibly historic event. Since in our nation's history, only 2 presidents have been impeached.
It's shaping up to be an intensely partisan fight. This is a big week for the Trump presidency. Public impeachment hearings start. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it's a hoax. It's a hoax. It's created, but from day one, since he came down the golden escalators, they wanted to impeach him.
Jennifer Petito and Libby Piero
Trump!
are front row Joes, Trump supporters who've attended dozens of Trump rallies. So nothing
like a whistle.
that you're likely to hear is likely to change your mind.
We already heard it. Didn't he come forth with everything? We love our president. We're not going to say anything about this impeachment. The Dems are going to do what they want to do. I think it's all a bunch of, it's not going to happen.
To understand how we got here, you got to go back to March 2014, when Russia invaded Ukraine and annexed part of the country. President Obama sanctioned Russia and made Vice President Biden the point man on Ukraine. Biden's son Hunter was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company, making $50,000 a month, creating the appearance of a conflict of interest.
I'm a human. And you know what? Did I make a mistake? Well, maybe in the grand scheme of things, yeah. But did I make a mistake based upon some unethical lapse? Absolutely not.
There's no evidence the Bidens broke any laws.
My son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I carried out the policy of the United States government in rooting out corruption in Ukraine.
But President Trump doesn't buy it.
Biden and his son are stone cold crooked.
Earlier this year, after voters in Ukraine elected a new president on an anti-corruption agenda, President Trump instructed his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, to temporarily freeze nearly $400 million in U.S. military aid. Mulvaney later admitted the administration intended to release the aid money only after Ukraine announced a corruption investigation targeting Democrats.
To be clear, what you just described is a quid pro quo. It is funding will not flow unless the investigation into the Democratic server happens as well.
We do that all the time with foreign policy. And I have news for everybody. Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy.
On that July 25th phone call, President Zelensky told Trump, "We are ready to continue to cooperate for the next steps. Specifically, we're almost ready to buy more Javelin missiles from the United States for defense purposes." President Trump responded, "I'd like you to do us a favor, though." The president went on to mention Joe Biden and corruption repeatedly.
There was no pressure. That was not pressure. I know when I give pressure, and that was not pressure.
President Zelensky has backed Trump up on that.
Nobody pushed me, yes.
In other words, no pressure.
But without U.S. military and political support, Ukraine would be in a much weaker position, fending off further Russian aggression.
Anything that hurts Ukraine helps Russia.
In August, the anonymous whistleblower accused Trump of using the power of his office to solicit interference from a foreign country in the 2020 U.S. election, citing the July 25th phone call as an example.
In that telephone call, The president undermined our national security.
Behind closed doors, multiple witnesses have since corroborated the whistleblower's account. Some were familiar with the July phone call. Others were diplomats charged with carrying out the administration's Ukraine policy.
They're having people. I never even heard of some of these people. I don't know who they are.
That's disingenuous. The president has instructed members of his inner circle not to cooperate, so some officials with firsthand knowledge have yet to answer any questions.
The president doesn't seem to want the members of his administration to testify, but of course those would be the individuals who were in the room where it happened.
The first witness tomorrow is America's top diplomat in Ukraine, Bill Taylor. He's already testified it was his clear understanding there was an explicit quid pro quo, no U.S. military assistance unless Ukraine agreed to help with the 2020 campaign, an arrangement that Taylor called crazy. Tomorrow's hearings are still an early step in a lengthy process outlined in the Constitution, one that's rarely invoked in the context of the presidency. The president is alleged to have pressured Ukraine to investigate a political rival. Does that qualify as a high crime and misdemeanor?
The fact that you are alleged to have pressured a foreign government for help in a subsequent election would certainly qualify as an abuse of office and a betrayal of the public trust.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
As with Bill Clinton's impeachment 20 years ago, the House goes into this process knowing there are enough votes to impeach President Trump, but likely not enough votes to remove him from office. It's the Senate that decides that, with the Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court presiding over the trial. Removing a president requires a two-thirds majority.
I don't even think the Clinton impeachment can compare with this. I think it's much more applicable what happened 46 years ago with Watergate.
Back in 1973, public opinion had not yet turned against President Richard Nixon.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
Televising the Senate Watergate hearings tipped the balance, in part by exposing the existence of secret Oval Office tapes. House Democrats clearly hope these public hearings will make it harder for Republican senators to stand by Trump.
I think the Democrats are aiming at not moving public opinion, but galvanizing public opinion, because right now a majority or a plurality of the country already favors impeaching and removing the president.
For now, there's little sign of Republicans breaking ranks.
Mr. President Trump!
The front row Joes hope it stays that way.
If he can handle this onslaught, we can handle it. We're not leaving him. He's getting in. 2020, here we go. That's it.
The bitter divisions in Washington reflect a divided country, and impeachment is unlikely to change that.
We're never going to agree. You won't convince me and I won't convince you, and that'll be the end of it.
I'm David Wright for Nightline in New York.
You can watch the hearings live tomorrow morning at 10/9 Central right here on ABC.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.